from the mud, there's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Won't stop fighting to the very end. Many men try to reach it.
Dudes, dudettes, check it out. Today we're gonna do something a little bit different. So my forte tends to be in reptiles. Unfortunately enough, over the last couple of years, my main focus has been on primates and other mammals, and let's just say I'm fairly well-rounded with the way that I was brought up, the way that I grew up, and the things that I've done. But my forte, I definitely would say, is reptiles. So what I wanted to do with you guys is an episode or a series where we can do beginner, intermediate, and expert level reptiles. And we're gonna do a bunch of different kinds, and expert level doesn't always mean venomous. There's a bunch of other ones that require expert level care. And I'm gonna go into those reasons and why I think these things are the way they are. And again, these are opinions based off of number one, research, tons of research, and then also learning over many years with my father and all my mentors that I've had, and then as well as just overall general long periods of experience with certain animals, with a lot of different animals. Especially when I was importing and exporting, I got such a wide array of different reptiles that I got the pleasure of working with, that I was able to see what was easy, what wasn't easy, and what would be best for like a beginner status, intermediate status, and expert level status, because that's how I used, when I used to sell reptiles, I always used to pick at the people's brains to find out if it was something they were capable to handle, because I never liked to send an animal out and then have to worry about that animal in the long run. It's why we support Josh's shop so much, because at Cold Blooded Kingdom, they treat everything, and then they also make sure that the customers themselves know what they're getting themselves into and make sure that the animal is going to the right place. Not a lot of places do that. A lot of places are focused more towards the money, and realistically, everybody, including myself, always has to know what your limits are as far as what you can do and what you can care for, because you have to remember you have to provide for this animal for its entire life. So today we're going to do something a little different, like I said, and then we're going to go to Josh's shop, and we're going to be bouncing back and forth until I can get my land and actually get my own collection going again. I still do have a few things, but we're going to be filming those when they're set up to the core at a new place, at a new facility. We're kind of bouncing around here. So we're going to use Brian's animals today. So over at Treetops, they do have a couple of beginner reptiles here, and we use these for encounters. Why? Because they're fantastic beginner reptiles. And we're going to go into bearded dragons today, and then when we go to Josh's shop, we'll do some more beginner animals, then intermediate, then expert. But today we're just going to be doing basic facts about the bearded dragons, the husbandry that you need, and then later on we'll do more bearded dragon episodes where I can tell you guys a little bit about the problems that you're going to have. We're going to talk about one of those problems today because I think it's really important for your basic husbandry, but then we're going to go into viral infections, bacterial infections, and then other problems and diseases that you'll have to worry about when dealing with bearded dragons. Now, best part about bearded dragons is, number one, they're all captive bred here in the States. You will not get a bearded dragon imported. They come from Australia. No bearded dragon is being imported to this day. Like, that stopped a long time ago. So whatever bearded dragons we have here are bred here in the United States. So you do get captive born and bred bearded dragons. Now, there's a good side and a bad side to that. The good side is many responsible breeders make sure they separate their bloodlines. Other breeders may not be as responsible. They may want like the most quantity, and they may be searching for a certain morph, genetics, things like that. Then there's a lot of line breeding, inbreeding, where you can cause a lot of problems with the animals themselves. But overall, your safe bet for beginner reptile, that even goes for your kids, as long as you're watching your kids. Always watch to make sure you know what they're doing. But it's a great animal for kids. Couple of reasons. Right off rip, I'm gonna go into the fact that this is a very basic setup, right? So we're going to, this is Fuego. We have Frieza over there. Ba-boom! And Frieza is going to be going to a friend of ours that he wants a pet lizard. And so this is going to be his pet lizard, because we don't need to. This is a male and female. We're going to go into that in a second. We don't want to breed them. We don't need to produce any more bearded dragons. There's plenty being produced. There's no reason here at Treetops to be overproducing anything. We don't need the money from it, as well as we don't need to be pushing out any more bearded dragons. Anyway, back to it. It's a safe bet because you're going to be getting an animal, and regardless of what size bearded dragon you get, they all, for the most part, and I'm going to say this in general terms because it does have a mouth, it does have teeth, it does have a broad head structure. If it does bite you, it can cause damage. I've only been bit by a bearded dragon once in the 30-something years of being around bearded dragons. I had these when I was a kid, and as a matter of fact, what most people don't know is I bred bearded dragons for about 4 years and produced almost 4,500 per year, which was the most miserable experience of my entire life. It's very difficult to take care of that many babies, but we'll get into that later on. Now, on the spectrum of beginner reptiles, like I said, generally speaking, these guys have no interest in biting. You can hang out with these guys all you want, safe for your kids, safe for adults, safe for beginners, and the best part about it is on top of their extremely great disposition. Look, he's looking, he thinks there's some food around, and even then he'll just give you a lick to find out. You want it? You want the finger? So not very bitey at all. Like normally if you had an aggressive lizard and I pinched him on the side of his face or whatever, he's going to open that up. This guy just wants to check out and see if we have any food. Now, the good part about these guys is, aside from their fantastic disposition and just basically wanting to hang out and chill with you, they don't get very big. So this is about a year old. This is a good breeder size, and you're going to be getting probably a foot and a half head to tail at the very biggest for a big bearded dragon. Now, this is a basic setup to grow them up in. So we're going to be moving Fuego here probably within the next couple of months. I would say another 4 to 6 months. We're going to be getting a larger enclosure, probably a 4 by 2 by 2 high would probably be good for these guys. A lot of people will use 40-gallon breeders, which is a regular aquarium like that. There you go. But it is a 40-gallon breeder. These guys can live in it their entire life. I prefer a little bit more space, so I'll use a little bit different of a setup. The PSUs here are great for this, for these bearded dragons. The only thing I don't like is the ventilation, but that's not a big deal because we're indoors. Now, for anybody in Florida, or for anybody in a humid state, you have to be careful because you can't put these guys outside. Reason being is because where they come from, it's dry and arid, and these guys have a problem with yellow fungus. That's something we'll get into at a later episode. So we raise them indoors. It's AC, that means it's drying everything out, including that enclosure over there, and I'm gonna show you the minor differences. So, biggest things for these guys as far as husbandry. First, I'm going to show you guys, because I'm going to show you when I show you the female. Let me show you guys how to tell a male and a female. So for the bearded dragon, I'm going to place him on my hand, lift up that tail just like that. Make sure you're not cranking it too far. You don't want to break that tail or break the bone there, but you're seeing the dent right in the middle, and then you see a bulge here and a bulge here. That's the male. So that's a hemipene and a hemipene right here, and then you got the divot right in the middle. So pay attention to that. We're going to mark that out for you. So in a nutshell, once they get to about this size, now I wish I had babies to show you like a general setup, because when I do babies, if you go back a couple episodes and you look at my reptile episodes when I was rescuing everything, I use paper towels on the bottom. Good reason for that, impaction. So if you're feeding greens, you can see Brian uses a dish to feed his greens. That's so that the greens do not collect the sand on the bottom and get it all over that, because they will eat this, and if they eat too much of this sand, they can become impacted and that can cause them problems. So for babies especially, I keep them on paper towels. Once they get to about this size, then we could start dressing up the enclosure. We could put the sand in there. You can use a number of different substrates. I've seen people use everything from mulch all the way to sand, all the way to that calcium sand, which the calcium sand, again, ladies and gentlemen, even though it says they can eat it, if they eat too much of it, there's not enough calcium. There's more sand than calcium, and and they can get impacted from that too. So still feed with a dish for your greens, and then when you're dusting your crickets, hornworms, roaches, superworms, we do feed, but we do that on a very moderate scale. So like we'll do superworms every once in a blue moon. It's a hard exoskeleton, and you'll usually see them poop out the exoskeleton. So those guys, if you feed them all the time, as far as superworms go, you're gonna be having issues. Sooner or later, they're gonna become impacted just from the exoskeleton itself. Now, best part about these guys is they pretty much will eat everything. So you do your greens and stuff, you could do fruits and vegetables for treats, and then you can vary your diet as far as hornworms. Like I said, you could do roaches. Here in Florida, you can't do dubias, it's illegal, but you can get discoid roaches. You could do the crickets, the mealworms, hornworms, I think I already said, and then a plethora of other things that these guys can sustain on. And then once they get bigger, every once in a while, you can get a frozen thawed pinky and offer them that as well. Now, a couple of important things when remembering to take care of your bearded dragon. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is about the most gold object you could possibly have in your reptile collection. And the reason being is this: I don't trust, like we have a probe here, and that's hooked up to this, and one of these buttons here controls this probe, which would give you the approximate temperature. We don't use it for a reason, because we have this piece of gold right here. Oh, I wasn't gonna say it. I said it. All right, we're gonna edit that F word out. Sorry guys. But the reason I use this is very simple. If I aim at Brian, I got 84. If I aim at his bed, I got 80 degrees. If I aim up top, I got 90 degrees because the light's right here. If I aim on this side, I got 81. If I aim at the wall, I got 80. If I aim at the top, I got 80. I know where I'm at no matter where I go with this thing. It's got the little laser pointer if you're blind, but pretty much wherever you aim this thing at, it's gonna give you the temperature. So if I go into the vent, I'm obviously gonna get 68, 66, that's a cooler temp. And these things are pretty good. They may be off by like maybe a degree or two, but it's gonna give you the general shit that you want. Now, the reason I say this is so important is because for my bearded dragon, I want the hot spot, which this guy right here, because we gotta change this light right here. So these guys have the mini halogens, and this right here is producing enough for heat for him for sure. He's standing on top of it, so I can't get the base rock. Ooh, are you getting frisky, boy? So that right there is him puffing up to make himself look bigger. So they'll widen themselves out and kind of turn to the side, and that's what they do for predators, because it makes it look like it's a hard meal to get down with all those spikes and stuff. But again, you see no aggression from him. He's just a little scared with me beaming in this little thing. Oh, you gonna eat it too? Go ahead, bud, you can eat it. So we got 88 underneath them. We got, I would say without him sitting on the rock, since he decided to displace it, we probably have about 95. We're gonna change that bulb because I'm gonna show you exactly what we're looking for. Second thing, this shit right here. Most important thing in your bearded dragon's cage. That's a UVB light. Now they do 2.0, 5.0 and 10.0. Basically what that means, they'll tell you it's jungle or for this, and then the 10.0 is for desert. What it basically means is how far down your UVB is reaching. So for 10.0, general rule of thumb, you have about 12 inches. So 12 inches down, you're getting good UVB. If you had a 2.0 in here, you'd maybe get UVB for like, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 to 4 inches, and that would be better for these guys over here, the crusty geckos, which I'll show you later on, which don't need the UVB like these guys do. The biggest thing with bearded dragons that I see is calcium deficiency and MBD, which is metabolic bone disease. And that is created over a very long period of time with the lack of UVB, the lack of a varied diet, as well as your calcium, which I don't think we have the calcium up here, but you want calcium with vitamin D3. So we sprinkle the calcium with vitamin D3 on the greens, and then we also dust whatever bugs we're using to feed these guys, because they are omnivores, so we dust that as well. And that vitamin D3, which is the same thing they're getting from the UVB or natural sunlight, basically allows the animal to metabolize the calcium the way that they're supposed to. So you could pump this thing full of calcium all day long, and if he doesn't have UVB, or if there's no vitamin D3 within that calcium, they cannot metabolize the calcium the way that they're supposed to. So that basically it's working against them. They're having too much calcium, but the body's not able to produce it and use it the way that they need to. So the UVB and the vitamin D3, absolutely the most important thing when dealing with your bearded dragon. If you do not have this, they will survive for a long period of time, but over time you will start seeing negative effects. These little calcium sacs on the back of his head right here will start sinking in. The backbones will start to show. You may even see your lizard start to twitch. You may see the backbone start to go like a little zigzag, and that MBD, once it gets too far, you cannot fix the metabolic bone disease. So you always want to make sure 100%, most important thing is your calcium with D3 and making sure that you have your 10.0, whether it's a strip light or one of these lights right here, just making sure that they have plenty of that UVB going towards them. And remember, just because the light's on doesn't always mean you're getting UVB. So it's always safe to assume that every 6 months, regardless of if that light works, switch your UVB light, just to make sure that you're still producing the same amount of UVB. Now, we're gonna go visit Frieza, and we're gonna explain a couple more things about a female. Boom. Okay, all right, so what I just did is something very simple that I think is so vastly overlooked. So there's a couple ways you could do this, and this helps with a large collection. With a smaller collection, you tend not to have to worry. Now I did this for a reason, even though we've already gotten shit samples from Fuego and we've gotten them from Frieza, so we know that they're clear of parasites. But the reason that I did this is to show you guys, if you have more than one lizard and you don't have the ability like we do to do a fecal float whenever we want with Dr. Shetler over there, then it's always safest to wash your hands whenever dealing with one and moving to the other, because a lot of the stuff that's passed on, again, these are things we'll talk about in the next episode, anything that's passed on from one can be passed on to the other just by having particles of shit on your hand, particles of anything inside the enclosure, and then if he has anything viral or anything like that, we could pass that to the next lizard. So the easiest way to combat that, if you don't have the ability to do your floats, wash your hands. Wash your hands. We move on to the next one over here. And we got Frieza. Now, this is cool because this shows you guys the very simple setup. So Frieza was like yay big when she came over here to Treetops, and this is the one we're going to be placing because we only need one for the interactions. And basically Frieza grew up on paper towel, and then when she was big enough to handle it, then again, going back to it, we can start decking out the cage a little bit more. He still has this food bowl over here, and notice that we haven't had water bowls. You can keep a water bowl inside your bearded dragon cage, it's no problem. They tend not to drink out of those water bowls. They will, not saying that they won't, they tend not to, but they're going to get their liquid that they need from the food that they eat, just like they do in the wild. And then once a day or once every other day, I wouldn't stretch it farther than that, but either once a day or once every other day, when we clean these enclosures out, we'll put them in a little one of those little Sterilite tubs with water, like lukewarm water, not hot, like lukewarm. We'll put them in there, allow them to soak. If they want to drink anything there, they'll drink anything there, because once we stop using the paper towel, we don't spray and mist them like we do the little babies. With babies, I mist those guys 2-3 times a day on the paper towel. You can't do that, because if you did it in here with this one, then you're going to be having a mess of sand and stuff everywhere. So we switch it, and then when they're this size, now when we take it out to clean the enclosure, we'll soak that animal for about 10 minutes or however long it takes to clean the enclosure, and they're getting the water and everything that they need from these greens right here. So this is a very simple setup. This is a 20-gallon long. It's a very cheap enclosure, and then we just have the double dome on top. So the double dome on top is the same thing that we have in Fuego's cage over there. This is just a smaller scale for a smaller lizard. Now she'll be ready for an upgrade here probably within the next month, because they do grow relatively quickly. So we have our UVB on this side, and then we have a 100-watt bulb on this side, and this is a little bit more. Let me grab my golden tool. This is a little bit more of my liking, and which is why we're going to be switching Fuego's bulb here, because on this one we have 111 degrees, if you can see that, 110, 108, so, oh, we lost it. See, 112, right there on the back spot. So I like mine between 110 and 115 at the highest basking spot. But on the other side of this cage, where am I at? I'm gonna bet 80. 79 to 80.
81.
81, look at that shit. Oh, good. All right, so realistically for these guys, they're desert dwelling. We want them to be able to get out of the heat. So generally speaking, especially after they eat, she's gonna go up to the top of that. She's gonna bask at that 115, but they're gonna thermoregulate the way that they need to. So they need the option to get out of the heat just as much as they need the option to get into the heat. And it's very simple to do this with a bearded dragon for those reasons. Number one, It's not going to try and attack you when you're in a cage. It's not going to be running all over the place. They're not bouncing off the side of the glass. They're not damaging themselves. So this is again why it's such a good beginner reptile, because it allows you to learn your husbandry skills as well as to learn the personality of each individual animal that you're taking care of, and growing yourself as well as the lizard as far as the knowledge that you have to dial down what you need to dial down. Now this took a couple of tries because we have a screen top on this one, whereas the other one is more enclosed. So the temperatures are going to be different to control in that cage than they will be in this cage because we have this big screen open top. This is a common problem with people in houses when they have their shit dialed down to like 68 degrees. So you may need a bigger heat bulb, or you may need a bigger basically sometimes I'll use plexiglass to cover half of it if I need to, if I can't get the temps I want. But what I want is 110 to 115 on the basking, probably about 90 degrees right here where she's sitting right now, and then 80 so they can get away from it if they need to. But you're gonna see that they spend most of the time on this side of the cage, especially after eating. But this is a very simple setup. So you got a cheapo little 20-gallon cage, and then you got your double domes up here with your lights. Again, make sure you switch your UVB about every 6 months, and then you're good to go. Make sure it's a 10.0. That gives you the 12 inches all the way down, even though she can get up a little bit and get a little bit closer if she needs to. But this means that all of these animals, both bearded dragons, basically have everything they need, to meet the husbandry requirements to keep these animals healthy. And the bigger they get, the more space we're gonna give them. Now, I wouldn't give them a huge amount of space. I'd say 4 by 4 by 2 would be probably the biggest amount that I would give, just to be sure that I can still pay attention to what's going on inside the enclosure. I like to raise them up in smaller enclosures and then move them as they go on, because it's easier for me to pay attention to what's going on with the specific lizard alone, if you catch my drift. All right, we got a little throat puffing. So there's a little threat display right there. So she's widening herself out because Brian was doing fancy moves. She's got her beard all tucked out here. And then oftentimes what's really cool, and we'll show you this at a later date, if I put that male in here right now, especially because of the time of year, and it was pretty much season, he would go right after her to breed, obviously damaging her because she's not old enough for that. But even with her being in a threat display, I'm gonna move this, uncouth, even with her being in her threat display, right, she still is not gonna give me any issues. When I come in here, she's a little bit upset, but as soon as she figures out what's going on, immediately calms down, the puffing is gone, all that stuff is over with, right? So that's why I say that this disposition on a bearded dragon is bar none. Like some of the coolest, chillest reptiles that you could possibly have. That's why I say it's so good for a beginner, because you don't have to worry about getting bit, you don't have to worry about super aggressive lizards, you also don't have to worry about beating themselves up on the side of the cage, getting scared every time somebody walks by. So this is really a good way to hone in your husbandry experience and your experience overall with reptiles to get you started to be able to move towards bigger and more dangerous, and not even more dangerous, but just things that are just a little bit more intricate when it comes into like actual husbandry and the things that we have to do for certain animals, because it gets really, really involved once we start moving past some of these beginner animals. So bearded dragons is number 1 on the list, but again, we're going to go to Josh's over at Cold-Blooded Kingdom. We're going to show you guys a bunch of beginner stuff, a bunch of intermediate stuff, and a bunch of advanced stuff. I think it's a good series to kind of start, and then once we get our property, hopefully that happens sometime soon, and I could rebuild my reptile collection or add to my reptile collection, then we could show you more of how I set things up, how we go from start to finish, and then especially get into the breeding of some of these more difficult species with it. For me, it's going to be awesome, because I want my beateds, I want my Gilas, I want to do that. It's very scientific when it comes to all that stuff. I think you guys are going to be fairly amused and fairly drawn into it as much as I am, because the scientific aspect of breeding these guys is bar none. These guys,
it's going to definitely be fun time-lapsing back from beginning to end, especially with the beateds and the Gila monsters. When you see what goes into that, and I got a friend on social media, Dennis over there, that does it too, and it's like, it takes a lot of skill, a lot of patience, and a lot of time. So to time lapse that, dude, that's, I can't wait. But we can only do what we can do right now. We got to focus on making sure we get all the homies back together. But we did want a reptile episode for you. So we're going to show you one last thing before we go here. We're going to show you how to tell about the female. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place her and try and get her comfortable on my hand here.
just a flat surface, and then I'm gonna lift up. And I'm lifting up, and I'm not pulling on the tail because I don't wanna break her tail. I'm gonna try and back up to you so I can show you. So right here, you don't see the divot in the middle, right? You see like this little half moon type of deal right here? And we're gonna mark that on the screen. I think Brian can do that with his special editing. But we see the half moon right there, and that's your female. So you're not paying attention to below the vent, you're paying attention to above it on the tail. So male would be a divot with the two bulges, and the female is going to be that little half moon circle right there. So we got Frieza the female, Fuego the male. Again, both regular bearded dragons will go into genetics later on. I'm not a huge fan of the genetics, not that I don't know. I know way too much about the genetics of bearded dragons, but I think that's for another episode. This is just basic husbandry and giving you guys a good idea of what it would be as far as like beginner, intermediate, and expert reptiles. And for me, bar none, bearded dragon, one of the best beginner reptiles that you could possibly ever have. You stink. That's right. Yes, you do. And that's it, my dudes. So we got our first beginner series on the episode. Thanks for hanging out, homies. And again, thank you guys for all the Patreons. As a matter of fact, before I let you guys go, I'm gonna be right back with a surprise. Boom. Got my glasses on, dude. All right, so I wanted to give a special thanks to, number one, all of you guys. Everybody on the channel is so extremely nice. Everybody's kind of been dealing with me as things come. Things have been getting more stressful, more difficult for myself as far as everything goes. So the support that you guys give on the channel is absolutely amazing. So for all of those that you watch, comment, like, you hit the buttons, all that stuff that helps us out, we appreciate you guys more than you can ever know. Also the Patreons, we have our Patreon up. We've only had it up for a couple of weeks, and you guys are extremely supportive. We love you more than you could ever know. Everybody on the channel, that goes for everybody, not just the Patreons. I've told many of people, if you can't donate, please do not feel bad. That's not the aim of the channel. Some people can, some people can't, some people go lower, higher. Either way, we try and take care of all our Patreons pretty much the same way. We feel bad kind of, you know, scheduling things out and locking certain things. So we do things a little bit differently on our Patreon than some of the other channels. We tend to unlock everything for everybody. But regardless, I wanted to give a special shout out to everybody we got. So this is going to take a couple minutes. Bear with me, guys. We got Melissa F. Thank you very much. Dottie Rhodes, she comments on everything. Love you, Dottie Rhodes. Thank you very much. Monica, no last name, but it's got a pretty little puppy in there. Looks like a little Shih Tzu or something like that. I don't think you could see it. A little Shih Tzu. But Monica, thank you very much. We got Wendy Willem. Please make sure, I don't know if I said that right. Wendy Wilhelm? Wendy, love you. Wendy, thank you very much. We have Sonia, oh, this is gonna be a tough one for me. Hummins, I hope that's right. Thank you very much, Sonia. We got Joe Mag, I don't even want to destroy your last name, bud. People have destroyed my last name. It's Igualada. It's very difficult. They've destroyed it for years and years and years. I'm not gonna do it to you. Joe, thank you very much, bud. We got Pamela Salandra, yeah, I think I got that one right. We got Arvimation. She's been helping me out with a ton of stuff. Thank you. She's been doing a bunch of the artwork, and we're gonna have merch soon, probably because of her. She's got some pretty awesome work out there. Thank you, mucho. Josh Cooper, Mr. Josh Cooper, my dude. Thank you very much. Kim Fused. She's awesome. I think she might have been one of the ones that I helped with the bearded dragon stuff. We often help, and I tell everybody you can reach out to my social media if you need help with any animals. If I can help, I will, or if I can't, I will point you in the right direction. I always try and get to all that stuff. I do believe that if anybody is looking for help, I'm 100% willing and able to do so to the best of my ability. We got Christine Carver. We got Holly Rothera, we got Sandra Thompson, Jody Lee, Katrina Reynolds, Deb Zacher, Tori Behrens, I'm gonna say Behrens, and then we got Omishi33, Sarah Wilson. Why do I feel like this is not all of them? Oh, wait, here we go. Let me go to the rest of my Patreons here. Why is it not letting me bring? Pause. We had to go to the PC because the Patreon app is very difficult. All right, Jesse, peace. Thank you very much. We got Mark Royal, thank you very much. Jinx78M, thank you very much. Jennifer Bristol. We got Keenan, who not gonna touch that last name. Keenan, thank you very much. Krabil, tell me if I'm right. Go ahead and message my Patreon. Let's see if I'm close. Tanya, that's an easy one. Thank you very much. Sally Eddy, thank you very much. Jennifer S, thank you. Haley Turner, we got Callie C. Ooh, I'm gonna say Sioux Mooland. I believe that's how it's, well, it's like the Sioux Indians, so I would assume that that's the way to say it. If I'm wrong on that, I apologize. Please do message me in the Patreon. Feel free to bash me as much as you want. Kendra Williams, love you very much. Thank you very much. I speak to Kendra often. She is a vet. Doing some pretty good stuff up there up north. We got Cody Spangler, Aaron Aaron Blau. I'm going to say Aaron Blau. Jared Scott. We got Elizabeth Hoover. Amanda Kappas. Hopefully that's right. Random FPV. That was easy. Thank you very much, Random FPV. We got Marie Tilson. We got Heidi Jet Fuel. I like that name. Heidi Jet Fuel. Tara Huber. We got Chris S. Chris S. I speak to him often. Thank you very much. We got Shirley over here. Thank you. Mucho. We got Mark Lazier. I think it's Lazier. I'm hoping I'm doing this right. I'm pretty sure I'm destroying everybody's name, but that's okay. I'm just trying to show some appreciation over here. We got Derek Robb. Thank you. We got Michelle. Thank you very much. Amanda Lynn. Nicole Azerti. Thank you very much. Nicole, I often speak to as well. James Green. Jason Cora, my homie over there. Brother from another. All right. So now we got Nicole Fowler, we got Chloe Green, we got Melissa Seward. I think Melissa Seward is going to be coming to visit. We're going to try and get with her. I want to say there's so many people that I speak to on a different daily basis. So if I get anything wrong, just bear with me, my dudes. We got Rena, we got Rachel Wilson, Lori Straight, we got Dawn. I am not going to try and touch the one, but your last name is Watson. It's hyphenated. There is another one in there. I'm going to do it. I'll just do it. Arduini. I think that's it. Don Arduini Watson. All right, J Block 321, nice and easy. We got Michelle Renee, thank you very much. And then we got Isabel. We got Day Leach. I've been speaking to Day Leach. Thank you very much, Day Leach. DS Coda. We got Pamela Irby or Pamela Uribe. I don't know. Pam, I speak to you often, so you can go ahead and message me and beat me up. Cat Phipps. I already know Cat Phipps. I love you, Cat. Cat. That's a very good friend of ours. We got Jessica, Chelsea, Brian McGuire, Jan Gilbert, Debbie. Not even gonna try that one. Debbie, I love you. I'm sorry, not gonna try that last one there. I don't want to destroy it. We got Gene Grissom. We got Mike Schroet. And then we got Emily O'Neill, Laura Rawlings, Devin Stevens, Joan Robbins. Joan Robbins is on there all the time too. Donna L. Hanrahan, I think that's right. And then we got Teresa Keys and Rebecca Wark. You guys, thank you guys so much. I don't think you guys realize how much this means to us. On top of everything else you guys do, you came over to the Patreon, and this is not meant to offend anybody at all. We appreciate all the support we get, whether you're just watching the channel, clicking that like button, sharing it. I had a lot of people share the bite video. That was amazing. Anything that you guys do helps us out. So please don't take this, like, no matter if you donate to Patreon or if you're on our Patreon or not on our Patreon, it doesn't affect us in any way, shape, or form. Our relationship with everybody is always the same. Some of you guys went above and beyond on the Patreon. We love you for that, but we also love our little, what do we call them, nibblers? Nibblers. We also like our nibblers, our big bites. We love all that stuff. Anything that's done is always accepted, appreciated, and you guys don't know how much it means to us. Even for those that just watch the channel, share the channel, comment with us, hit the like button, subscribe, and then also let me tell you guys, apparently there's a problem with notifications, so make sure your notifications are turned on. So if nobody's getting notifications, you have to re-go into your settings. You got to click that bell. Apparently YouTube changed something, but we're seeing that there's about 95% of the people are not getting the notifications. So if you're not getting your notifications, notifications, please go into your YouTube. You're gonna have to fix that on your settings. We're not sure how to do that. I'm pretty sure you just go into settings, go into your notifications, make sure that is turned on. You can turn it on for certain channels and off for certain channels, so you don't have to have YouTube blowing up your stuff on a constant basis. If you're like me, I have all my notifications turned off, and then I just check my stuff so it doesn't stress me out. But we just wanted to say thank you. Instead of writing it out there, we wanted to tell you personally, thank you guys very much. We appreciate everything you guys do. That goes for the Patreons and everybody else on the channel. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say it enough. All right, dudes, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Many more on the series to come. So stick with us, my dudes. Thank you. Boom.